What's up, my brother?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Doing good, man. See you're out and Eric's out about and stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm on location right now. I'm actually at an event right now, but I definitely wanted to call in and talk about those fights we had this past weekend. Can you hear me good? Everything all right? No delay?
So what were you saying, brother? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. So, hey, everybody, welcome to Enter the Ring Live. I'm on location here in the lovely city of Chino Hills. I'm not too far from AJ, but I'm actually at an event. But I wanted to call in. Obviously, there's just too big of a fight this weekend. Excuse me, the fights that took place this weekend to not do the show today. But let's go ahead and get into it, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. How? So who's this for, Ken?
Yeah, Ken's son Jake. He graduated from Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, so, cool.
Yeah, he finished. Yeah, he finished school and he's doing real good.
That's awesome, brother. Good. Yeah, so I guess let's jump right into it, man, and let's go right to the top rank card, and let's jump right to the co-main event.
Co-main event, Chon Zepeda wins a kind of a lackluster 10-round unanimous decision over Hammer and Hank Lundy. The veteran Hank Lundy. Very, very. I gotta be honest. Watching this fight, I got mixed feelings because. We know Chon, and I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last few years, watching him train in the gym. Being multiple days in there watching him train, and he won the fight. I mean, he won a 10-round decision. I think all three judges had 98, 92. So what is it? Eight rounds to 2.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I got to be honest. I think the fight was a little closer than even the scorecards indicated, and maybe it was because I was expecting so much more out of Chon. I was expecting such a dominant KO stoppage, but I think maybe he was expecting more of himself too, and he was just really trying. He just wasn't. He wasn't boxing and using what got him to where he was at. He was just looking to land a big shot.
No, you're absolutely right. Hey, welcome, Eric the Red. How's it going, my brother?
Is he there?
Yeah, I can. You might want to turn up your hearing a little bit, your volume a little bit, bro.
Me or Eric?
Eric.
Okay.
Yeah, you're better. Yeah. So real quick, I think Chon. We've discussed this before. Like so many good fighters and so many good sports teams in the past, he tends to kind of fight down to the level of his competition because when he's thrusted into that big situation, I think it was kind of a downer. But let's not discredit Hank Lundy because let's be honest, even at his age, Hank Lundy is a very cagey veteran and a guy who nobody has looked good against. You know what I'm saying? John Molina had even said about Hank's skills and stuff.
Tricky.
Very tricky fighter and stuff, and I know they were making. I know Andre and Tim Bradley are making comments about Hank Lundy's legs. I don't really know what they were talking about. I thought Hank has a pretty good pop in his step. He came in tremendous shape. I'll tell you that, the best shape I've seen him in years.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked like that 140-pound division suited him well, and we all know that Chon. I'm not going to say he had a hard time making weight, but he miscalculated a little bit and had to go, jump back on the scales within an hour of the initial weigh-in. He did look a little bit drawn in the face. He looked a little gaunt. He looked a little bit like, man, he couldn't squeeze any more out of him.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Chon, I think even after the fight, he knew he won the fight, but you could see the disappointment in his face even when the fight ended. There was no excitement. He was like, maybe he felt, wow, maybe in hindsight, maybe he shouldn't have just been looking for that one big shot because he was really throwing one shot at a time. He was throwing a big left, and he was throwing the right hooks, and he wasn't jabbing at all. He just really didn't even hardly. He did a little bit, especially towards the second half of the fight. I think when he finally realized that, hey, you know what, maybe I'm not going to get this guy out of here with one shot, so let me start jabbing. And he did a good job of throwing that nice stiff jab into.
Well, when he threw the jab, I believe it was in the 8th or 9th round, he was popping Lundy's head back. But one of Chon's big weapons, and you've been firsthand to see it, is that uppercut. And I saw him throw one in the second round and never threw it again, and literally almost took Lundy's head. If he would have connected, probably would have been over. So, that is what it is. But congratulations to Chon Zepeda. It's good to see him. Eric, obviously you saw the fight and stuff too. Like I said, it was kind of a lackluster performance. We'll circle back to it, me and Eric a little bit later, because I know Mike's got a short time. So let's jump right into the main event. Mike, let's get your take on the main event. Jose Carlos Ramirez versus Josh Taylor for the unified 142-pound championship.
I mean, it was a great fight, and I got to be honest with you, man. If people need to really sit back and recognize what Josh Taylor has done in 18 fights. He's the undisputed champion in 18 fights, and he did it the hard way. The World Boxing Super Series, where he fought tough guys like Postal, Regis Prograis, and then to go on and beat Ramirez in the manner in which he did. I'm telling you, man, the kid really deserves high praise, and he really needs to elevate himself on that mythical pound for pound list, because anybody that doesn't want to give this kid the credit he deserves and really elevate him, in my opinion, top 5 pound for pound. In my opinion, he leapfrogs guys like Teofimo because of what he did and the manner he was able to do it. I mean, he fought an undefeated, undisputed.
But what did you? But if he leapfrogs a guy like Teofimo, isn't that kind of saying that a guy like Ramirez is of a higher level than Lomachenko? I kind of beg to differ on that, because I think Josh Taylor did an amazing job, and like you said, he did it the hard way, like Lomachenko did. But at the same time, Josh Taylor showed a lot of holes, and we're going to see what's going to happen when he steps up against, other guys within the division. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Ramirez is one of the top guys.
It was just what he did, and I think what bothered me the most about it was the lack of respect that he was given prior to the fight. And, with UK, none of the big networks picking it up on the UK broadcast, which I didn't understand. But then also after the fight, you had Robert Garcia making excuses, talking about the second knockdown. Well, it was on a break. And second act. No, actually, if you go back and watch it, it wasn't on a break. Kenny Bayless was making goof ups the entire night, most of them to Ramirez's advantage. So I don't really know what they were saying there. But
hey, just real quick, bro.
Bob Arum looked like disappointed in the fact that Ramirez didn't pull this out.
Do you think maybe some of it is attributed to Taylor's attitude? I mean, he's been a guy in the past too. He's always been a kind of a guy that talks. He gets under people's skin and stuff a little bit. He was a little classless going up into this fight with Ramirez. Now, I agree with you. You have to defend yourself at all time, a la Virgil. Ortiz and Mayweather years ago. But there was a moment, and to me, Josh Taylor could have held back. He didn't have to throw that shot, because there was a moment when Josh Taylor was very vulnerable, where Ramirez could have hit him and he didn't. So that shows you the different classes of the two fighters. I think Ramirez was a much more respectful fighter. Whatever Robert Garcia is saying, that's Robert Garcia. I didn't hear that out of Ramirez's mouth. At least I didn't hear it.
Ramirez was all class after the fight, and even Josh Taylor said in the post-fight interview, he said he apologized to Ramirez for all the talk before that. He said, "Hey, I'm just trying to get in your head and all that stuff."
I don't think it really worked, though. I just think Ramirez had the wrong game plan at certain things. He should have stuck to certain things. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
The last 2 rounds of that, though.
You got to turn up a little bit more, bro. I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now? Better?
A little bit more.
All right, let me see here. How about now?
Good. Perfect.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. All right. So the last 2 rounds, I thought that Taylor was really starting to go down. You saw him get hurt a couple of times. Am I right? Or was I seeing something that I wasn't happening?
No, he was
fading a little bit.
He was fading very, very quickly. Those last 2 rounds.
A la Josh Warrington.
Yeah. And so I thought that it was a little bit closer than what the scorecards actually said.
Well, the scorecards were close. They were
close. They were close.
Oh, wait, okay. Close. All right. I must be thinking they had the one before. I'm sorry.
Oh, the tone fight. You're thinking it was a
fight. Sorry. Yeah. But no, it was a close fight. And yeah, if I thought I heard the ref say break and then he got hit when I rewound it. So I mean, I don't know, but I mean that kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Like what you're saying, AJ. I mean, there was a couple of times, not just once, a couple of times when it was broke, and then Ramirez was in perfect position to just let one go, and he held it back.
Well, it wasn't the only time that Josh Taylor did that. He was doing that throughout the fight. Whenever there was a
multiple
break,
times
he was trying to go for that cheap shot. And don't get me wrong, defend yourself at all times. That's a big part of boxing. Okay.
Yep.
But then there's also this unwritten rule of just being, the Queensberry thing. Just being And like I said, Ramirez could have tanked him. When he was down. I mean, he was spread legged, his head was right there. I mean, he could have tanked him. It would have been legal, but he didn't do it.
Yeah. So you're right. But I think a lot of that had to do with that Taylor knew he had made objections to both the referee and one of the three judges in the fight. I think he kind of knew, he had to try to take advantage of everything he possibly could. And maybe he could have fought a little bit cleaner. But what I find ironic is when people talk about, especially guys like Andre Ward, or when people are, the way that they were calling the fight, and it's like you made a career of fighting the way, holding when you needed to hold, hitting on the break, hitting dirty, hitting low. I mean, come on. I mean, when you fought Kovalev both times, he was hitting him with low blows and high frequency, but I don't know. I will say this though. I want to talk just a little bit because I'm gonna let you guys finish off, but I'm gonna say this a little bit about the post fight. Now, right away, the talk starts talking about, well, who does Josh Taylor fight now? Does he fight 135? Does he fight Teofimo? In my opinion, that's a non-realistic scenario. Yeah. Because he's at 140 and he's struggling to make 140. You're thinking if he's struggling to make 140, he's ready to move up.
Yeah, he is.
What has Teofimo done? Even at 135.
Well, Teofimo's got a challenge coming up, even though it's not against a great guy, but he's got to get past that. It seems like Teofimo's not really even looking at the fight that he's got coming up.
Yeah, he's got Kambosos training like a madman, and it's like, wait a minute, Teofimo, I know you want to kind of maybe jump on all the hype now. It's all shifted now to Josh Taylor, but as far as I'm concerned, Josh Taylor's got nothing left to prove at 140. If I was his management team, I would say, I'm not going to do the mandatory against Jack Catterall, who doesn't deserve it. I'm going to dump these belts, and I'm going to go to 147, and he could fight for any of the belts at 147. Because as an undefeated champion, if you vacate at 140, you automatically are number one contender to fight the next division. I think he needs to go in there and fight. I'm not saying fight Terrence Crawford right away, but I could see him fighting one good fight at 140, at 147, maybe against another top 10, 20 guy, and then getting a shot. Why not? Why not?
Before you go, bro, how would you see Taylor matching up against the current champions in the welterweight division?
You know what? He's quick. Okay, he's quick, and he's shown himself to be pretty durable. Because Ramirez is tough, and like you and I talked about, AJ. In my opinion, Regis Prograis could fight any legitimate guy at 147 and be competitive.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was a win on him, and it was a close fight. But I think we agree that he won that fight against Prograis. It was a close fight, but I think he's durable enough. And Ramirez caught him with a couple of really solid shots. And
absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, he got a little bit rough.
But we're talking about some monsters. Even though it's only 5 pounds, we're talking guys like Errol Spence. We're talking Ugas. I mean, we're talking a completely different level than Ramirez. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I want to end on this though. This is the last time I'm going to talk about this. Right away I start seeing. I know Mikey Garcia was there, of course, as part of his brother's team, and right away the talk is, well, what about Mikey Garcia? This and Mikey Garcia is right away throwing his hand in there. Well, yeah, I'd like to get that fight. Well, of course you would, Mikey, because wherever the attention's at and wherever the money's at, that's where you think you deserve to go. I think Josh Taylor embarrasses Mikey Garcia the same way Errol Spence did. Mikey Garcia has done nothing to deserve a shot against the undisputed. But I would tell Mikey, okay, if you want to come back down to 140, just drain yourself down. He's walking around like 160 right now. Drain yourself down 20 pounds. I'll fight you and make that money, Josh Taylor. And Josh Taylor, in my opinion, that's an easy fight for him.
I don't think Mikey Garcia beats Ramirez. But real quick before you go, bro, I know there was a big announcement: Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. Give me your take on it, real quick.
What can you say? I'm happy on two fronts. I'm happy that Manny Pacquiao is showing these younger guys that in order to be great, you have to take the biggest challenges out there. And Errol Spence, we're not going to change our tune because a week has passed. Errol Spence, in my opinion, is still the number one welterweight in the world.
He's the king.
And for Manny Pacquiao to accept this challenge and go after this fight shows the mettle and the heart of that guy. Now, The second thing that made me happy about hearing that fight was no longer is Mikey Garcia in the conversation to get that big money fight.
Well,
with
either is Terrence Crawford.
both those guys.
Yeah.
Both of those guys, neither of those guys deserve that big money fight. If anybody deserves a big money fight, right? I think it would be the guy that just won the fight on Saturday night. I mean, if you want to, let Josh Taylor go up and fight Manny Pacquiao. That might be an amazing fight at 147.
I know you got to go, bro, but real quick, I've heard rumors out there too that if Errol Spence is successful against Manny Pacquiao, there's a possibility of him moving up to 154. There's not going to happen. People can say whatever they want. Errol Spence couldn't make this fight with Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford was just baiting him and stuff, whatever. That will give an opportunity for Josh Taylor, obviously, to move in and fight somebody up there in that division. But don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier today, a guy like Keith Thurman, has different tools than Ramirez. He's fast. He hits much harder. He has a better ring IQ.
Yeah.
So we really got to see what happens when Josh Taylor fights a guy like that, because those dirty tactics and that hot shotting ain't going to work against guys like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, and a few others,
Nope.
Yeah. But, I got to say, I'm excited to see what Josh Taylor can do. And I'm happy that, like I said, I feel that he got a little bit.
18 fights. You got to take your hat off to the guy. 18 fights, man. He's a little later version of Lomachenko, not as skilled, but he did it pretty much the same way.
The right way.
Yeah.
So,
all right, brother, man. All right, brother.
We'll see you guys on Tuesday. I got to get back to this celebration, but thank you guys. Hold it down. I'll definitely tune back in and watch the rest of the broadcast. All right.
Sounds good, brother, man. Be safe, bro.
See you later.
That was Mighty Mike.
Mighty Mike.
He's tuning out. So what's going on, my brother? What's up, Eric the Red?
Just here, just living life.
I know,
brother. Just living life.
But did you get my funny Fauci TikTok thing I made? I made that, dude. It's pretty nice.
Wait,
huh?
no. What'd you get? What?
Oh,
no,
you gotta see it, dude. It's
all right. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to this thing here. Hold on. All right, let me look at it. Hold on. Well, no, I got somebody talking or something.
It's okay. We'll look at it later. But so, what was you thinking of? Hey, Mike, you're back.
Mike,
he's gone. Hey, so
right.
give me so once again, let's go back to the Josh Taylor situation. I know there's a lot of talk out there right now that Josh Taylor should be catapulted into the pound for pound thing. My only issue with that is this. Don't get me wrong. I think what Josh Taylor did was remarkable. To acquire the unified
title,
super lightweight title with only 18 fights, and his 18th fight is an amazing feat in itself. But and he's fought some good fighters on his way up. His most notable being Regis Prograis during the Super 6. But when I went back and watched the Prograis fight, I'm not trying to take anything away from Josh Taylor. But to me, in that victory, it wasn't what Josh Taylor did. It's what Regis Prograis didn't do. Regis Prograis has shown a different level since that loss as far as what he's done. Yeah. Everybody knew going into this fight, let's be honest, this fight shouldn't really have been fought against Ramirez. It should have been fought against the winner of the Chon Zepeda Ramirez fight. Most people, myself, yourself, Mike, and most boxing critics felt Chon Zepeda won the fight. We know what happened to Chon this last week. He had a bit of a lackluster thing, but you got to understand, and this guy's thing, he just had a barn burner. He's not gonna blow the wick on his candle before he gets a chance, to actually get the cake put in front of his face. It is what it is. Yeah. What do you say?
Well, with the Chon Zepeda fight, I did. That was I was kind of worried there after seeing the first couple of rounds. I was thinking, what is going on with Chon? I mean, he just wasn't fighting like he normally fights, And I know that last fight, I mean, was tough. You know what I mean? And I was kind of thinking, did he lose something in that last fight? I mean,
well, that comment was made by Tim Bradley too. I don't think it was that. Like I said, I'm going to stick to my guns where I say I think Chon fights to the level of his competition.
Yeah, I could see that.
But at the end of the day, too, Chon's a smart fighter. I know some people like Andre Ward was trying to make this thing like, he doubts himself. No, Chon doesn't doubt himself. Okay, believe me, get in the ring with him, you'll see he doesn't doubt himself. Yeah. I think what Chon was doing was being smart. He knows Hank Lundy is dangerous. Hank Lundy has a one-hitter quitter. Even at his age, even at this juncture in his career, he's still a dangerous and viable fighter out there within that division. Why end up taking that risk when you know you can just go out there, do enough? He got some rounds in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that knockout, even though it was physical, he didn't go a lot of rounds. He knocked out Ivan Baranchyk in 5 rounds, and Chon hadn't had a fight for a while. So he needed to get some rounds, and he got some rounds.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm gonna say it again, Hank Lundy's a tough guy.
Yeah, he is a tough guy. And you could see it. But yeah, like you were saying earlier about the announcers talking about his legs. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, they're saying because they look a little stiff, and so that happens when you get a little older. You will start to lose a little bit of the pop in your step, you know. But he was swinging some big punches, and Chon caught a couple just on the graze across. And, you know, I mean, you don't want to take that chance. But then again, I'm going to say something, you know, and, you know, I know it's hard for Mike to talk about it because, you know, he has a close personal relationship with not only Chon, but Chon's brother, Rene. And, you know, no disrespect to Rene Zepeda whatsoever. But Chon really needs some direction at this point because he's got an amazing opportunity in his hand. Chon is technically the #1 contender in the world in that division across the board. But they're gonna try, like Mike was right. They're probably gonna split up the titles. They're gonna do whatever they're gonna have to do. Fight this guy has to fight this guy, whatever, to try to overlook Chon. Yeah. We already knew if Ramirez won the fight, Ramirez has no intent to want to get back in the ring with Chon Zepeda. Even if it was fought back in his hometown in Fresno, he doesn't want it. Josh Taylor, on the other hand, is kind of a hot shot showboat, you know, talks a little shit. He might take that risk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate because Chon has to look impressive in this next outing. He has to show that he's the man at 140, you know, at the super welterweight division, that he is a guy that deserves that title shot. Lackluster performances, you know, cautious performances against guys that, you know, you should go in there and beat. You know, if you knocked out Ivan Baranchyk in 5 rounds, there's no reason why Hank Lundy went 10.
Yeah. No, I agree. You know? I agree, 100%. But who is Chon? Who's his manager or who's his trainer?
His brother, Rene.
Oh, okay.
Rene Zepeda. Right. And like I said, Rene, you know, he does his job. I mean, they're brothers. I mean, they're always going to be, but
they're going to watch out for each other. Yeah.
There was a different level, obviously, when Chon Zepeda was working with Robert Alcazar.
Yeah.
And
might want to go back.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have that power. That's not that. And like I said, this is no disrespect to Rene Zepeda.
No, none at all.
He's done an amazing job. You know what?
Sometimes you need that second voice. You know, that second or third voice. You know, that or second or third set of eyes that is watching and seeing things.
Well, sometimes you just need that guy doesn't have that blood connection because it's really hard for a brother to tell his brother, hey, you're losing. You know, to give him that criticism. Where sometimes you need to have that father figure. And that's where I think a guy like Robert or any other trainer, you know what I'm saying? There's some other good trainers out there that could fill that void and be that, you know, that disciplinarian and say, hey man, I need you at the gym at this time. I need you working on this. I need you doing this. I need you to do this. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. There had to be a game plan. And I didn't see one going into this fight to the result at the end. Luckily, Chon got the decision, which I didn't think was in doubt. I had him well ahead.
Yeah, I had him ahead too.
But, you know, like I said, I mean, it's a risk that you don't need to take at this point because a loss to Chon Zepeda at this point will devastate any future possibilities of getting a shot in that division with the title.
Yeah, well,
you know,
what do you know about his weight? I mean, is he having a hard time hitting that weight?
Mike said that, and I believe what Mike said too, because I saw something. Chon looked a bit. I know that there was some funny business going on with the scales. I'm not trying to start any, you know, rumors or nothing, but Chon looked a bit gaunt. He did. He looked a little, you know, his skin looked a little milky. You know, he looked very dehydrated to me and stuff. He's not a little guy. You know, he's a good sized guy. He's a guy that could easily be competitive in the 147-pound division in the welterweights.
Yeah.
Because I always had this dream of Chon going down to 135 and going after Teofimo. But let's be honest, if Chon's struggling to make, you know, the 142, 140 division, he's not going to be able to get down to to the lightweight division.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
yeah.
possible.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Anyway, maybe Tiafimo needs to, gain some weight, come up.
Well, Tiafimo's made comments about him moving up to the super lightweight division once he clears out the lightweight division. I'm like, dude, you got a long ways to go. There's a lot of guys coming. You got a long ways to go. It took Lomachenko years to get to where he was at, even though in a short amount of fights. But that's because Lomachenko was fighting for world titles in his third fight. I mean, something that Tiafimo was still fighting, back at home, in front of grandma, grandpa, and his ex or whatever. But so let's go ahead and jump from this thing right now. But real quick, on the thing with Josh Taylor, I know Mike made the comment that Taylor felt he was really disrespected with all the proceedings leading up to this fight. I will agree, but I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it again. If you come off as the bad guy, if you ruffle feathers, if you don't per se fit the mold that they're looking for, they're going to turn their backs and they're going to turn the channel and sometimes just not even air it. And I think a lot of that, I noticed something when Tyson Fury got to the fight. Right away, he started being very obnoxious.
Shut up.
There's a part of me that loves Tyson Fury, and there's a part of me that's just really starting to get sick of this shtick. Now, the words that came out of Tyson, now I'm looking at a pattern here. People that are associated with Tyson Fury himself, Billy Joe Saunders, Josh Taylor, all very, very, very boisterous, disrespectful, and always. The stuff that Tyson Fury was saying about Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder was so disrespectful. I told my brother Mike tonight, I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell you something right now. Mike agreed. Mike actually popped in and said it before I did. I hope Tyson's ready for this fight. I hope he doesn't think that Deontay Wilder is just going to go in there and take the money and lay down. I hope he doesn't think that same game plan he worked last time is going to work. He can install it if he wants to. Whatever Deontay Wilder, the one thing Deontay Wilder possesses that Tyson Fury doesn't possess, even though Tyson Fury got the stoppage win, he's got that thunder in that right hand. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. He's already shown that he could drop. He dropped Tyson twice in the first fight. You know what I'm saying? Didn't do shit in the second fight. Third time just might be a charm, because I tell you right now, the next time Tyson Fury gets knocked down by Deontay Wilder, I don't think he's getting up.
Yeah. That's all. You know what? And so the Ramirez and Taylor fight. I didn't have a horse in the game, basically, until I started seeing all the antics. Until I started seeing Taylor, being just straight out disrespectful. And then, of course, Fury gets out there and he starts talking his crap. I wanted Ramirez to win just to shut freaking Fury up. You know what I mean? I'm dead serious. I was like, I want this guy to, because when he was talking all that crap about Billy Joe and the Canelo fight, and I was thinking, yeah, you're a freaking idiot. I did not want to give this guy a win.
Well, we know what happened to Billy Joe.
I know. Yeah, he got his ass handed to him.
And his career is actually in jeopardy now from his injury. So, who knows what happens there. But the thing is I agree with you. I was actually pulling more for Josh Taylor going into this fight, only because I really felt that Chon Zepeda was more deserving of the decision against Ramirez. And I felt Ramirez was being gifted an opportunity that he shouldn't have got. It should have actually been Chon Zepeda. But the last the last thing that just kind of really got to me was after the weigh-ins in the back. Josh Taylor, I know he was getting heckled by a lot of Ramirez's fans. Well, that's not Ramirez's fault. It's not like Ramirez is out there pumping people up, telling them, disrespect this guy. Ramirez is standing next to his wife and his child. Josh Taylor comes up and pushes him in front of that. And that was just the last thing. That was so classist. And I don't care what Josh Taylor says after the fight. You can't take back those things you did at that moment. Yeah. And it reminds me of another fighter from the UK, even though Josh Taylor's from Scotland, Scottish, is Josh Warrington, which is ironic. They had the same name. Yeah. Josh Warrington was another one. It started, early on in his career. I saw his dirty tactics and the way he would do things and how he would talk about fighters. And then it was this dirty, foul-field victory over Carl Frampton, a guy who's just, beans and potatoes, man. I mean, the guy's he's everything that's good about boxing. And the thing is that when Warrington ran into Mauricio Lara, the kid, from Mexico, the unknown kid that they brought into sacrificial land, and he destroys Warrington. you know, I didn't have any bad feelings about Warrington, you know, getting tripped up at this point because it was kind of like, you know, you kind of deserved it, dude.
Yeah.
I've noticed this trend. When you talk too much, it catches up to you. It's caught up. Look at anybody in the past. Caught up to Tyson, caught up to, you know, guys like, you know, whoever. I mean, you know, with the exception of Mayweather, and that's because he cherry picked the last quarter of his career. But that was a whole nother story.
And now he's playing with internet jacks. But anyway, that's a joke. That whole thing is a joke. But he's actually hurting the sport more now than anything else. I mean, he was a good fighter, Mayweather, but now he's actually hurting the sport. So
yeah, like I said, you know, I think Mayweather was a great fighter. You know, I mean, he's, you know, his
very defensive, very, you know, I mean,
his legacy was set. And I said this in the last thing that we did was that Mayweather's legacy was pretty much set in the point that what he's been able to accomplish. Now, did he always fight the guys that he should have fought when he should have fought them?
Did he always
absolutely
win
no.
the fights that they say he won? No.
There's fights out there that were very questionable. I questioned the Oscar De La Hoya victory. I questioned the victory over Ramirez years ago, Jose Luis Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the thing is that now Mayweather's gone on to this circus sideshow and stuff, and I know that, and I didn't really get a chance to talk about it too much on the last thing, but that was a big reason why I believe Roger Mayweather stepped away from training his nephew, not just because of health reasons. You know, God rest his soul, champ. You know what I'm saying? We lost him just recently. Yeah. But Roger Mayweather, you know, before he, like I said before he was Floyd Mayweather's uncle and trainer, he was the Black Mamba. He was the real Black Mamba. Not talking about Kobe Bryant. He was the Black Mamba. He was, you know, a former champion, a two-time champion himself who was in some serious wars back in the days when, you know, you had a division filled with, you know, Josh Taylor's and Ramirez's and Chon Zepeda's, you know, everybody was a killer back then. Yeah. And he didn't want to be a part of this circus sideshow because he understood that you can't disrespect the sport that's given you so much. Yeah. And when I say disrespect the sport, I'm not talking about the promoters, the broadcast stations. They've already made their money. I'm talking about the fans. Don't cheat them of the one thing they have and give other fly-by-night sports like MMA or whatever's out there and stuff tomorrow, today, or this, you know, crap, this celebrity YouTube, you know, let me kick your ass shit. Even get some of the glory that should be all included in boxing, you know? Yeah,
you're right. Well, boxing is a sweet science. All those other ones that, quite honestly, I mean, anybody can get lucky if you're bare knuckle fighting somebody and or taking you down to the ground and twisting your arm the wrong way or whatever. I mean, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
Put a boxer against an MMA fighter any day.
Well, I mean, you know, like I said, they're two totally different sports, and MMA has its successes in certain ways, but you know, that is that, and that's about as much I want to get.
I've never been an MMA fan.
So let's talk about some fights that are coming up, bro. We've actually got a really good fight coming up on Saturday, the 29th. We got Devin Haney, undefeated Devin Haney, taking on by far his biggest challenge in his young stage of his career right now, an ex-multiple champion, Jorge Linares, El Nino. What do you think about that fight?
Yeah, that's gonna be a good fight. Where's that one being? Where is that one? Do you know?
Yes, yeah. It's actually the. Give me one second. The fight's being fought actually in at the Michelob Ultra Arena in Las Vegas. It's in Las Vegas.
Like, are they allowed to have fans now too? Or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have. Yeah. They already said it. As a matter of fact, they said it on the broadcast the other day. Was that this is going to be a packed crowd?
Can we get some tickets?
Yeah, I was actually talking to Mike earlier. We were talking about it looks like the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight is going to be at the new Raiders Stadium in Las Vegas. It's going to be fully open. We're definitely going to be there.
Okay, well, you got to let me know so I can fly in.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not kidding. I definitely want to go. So
getting back on this thing right here.
Time off.
So obviously, you know, we got young Devin Haney.
Yep.
Who is at the moment right now, you know, obviously this is going to be for the world, for the WBC lightweight title. Devin Haney, you know, as a lot of people know, he's one of these young guns that are coming up and stuff. His most recent,
he's like a good kid.
You know, I like Devin more than I like his dad. His dad seems to kind of talk too much and stuff, you know, which kind of really gets under my skin. And I hate when fathers do that.
Yeah.
When they, you know, because if you should only talk if you were able to do it yourself.
Hey,
You don't
yeah.
know. You
So-
don't know what your son's going through and stuff like that. So
Speaking about that, do you think Dad ever watches our podcast?
who cares?
Yeah.
Okay. So getting back on Yuriorkis. So he fought Yuriorkis Gamboa, but this is at a stage of Yuriorkis' career where he's not. Yuriorkis is competitive. He did what he had to do, but up to this point, really, Devin Haney really hasn't faced the level of competition that Jorge Linares is. Now, don't get me wrong. Linares, is a veteran. He's a big guy for the division. Most notably, he had that tough fight with Vasily Lomachenko, which he actually dropped Lomachenko in the fight.
Yeah.
He came back after that, beats Abner Cotto, then steps up in weight because El Nino is one of those guys that likes to challenge himself and gets blasted in one round by Pablo Cesar Cano, a fight he should never fought. Since then, he's come back. He's had 2 straight victories, most notably recently, Carlos Morales, who's a tough guy.
Yep.
I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park for Devin Haney like him and his camp think it's going to be.
No. I think Linares is definitely a
he's a live dog.
Yeah. He's like a pit bull. I don't think you're not just gonna walk in and walk over him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that Devin Haney's people, they see something in Linares, obviously, that they feel they could take advantage of, because I don't see anybody really interested, with the exception of Lomachenko. There's not been a lot of people that have been wanting to venture to that side of the ring and face a guy like Jorge Linares.
Yeah.
Linares is a very skilled fighter, very good boxing skills. He does have power, he doesn't get tired. He's a little chinny, you know what I'm saying? But,
maybe that's what they're hoping
but to
for.
me, Devin Haney's not a knockout guy. Let's
What's his record? Let me look at this real quick. Hold on.
Devin's 25-0 with 15 knockouts.
Yeah.
But you look at the guys, like I said, he didn't knock out Yuriorkis Gamboa. He hasn't knocked out anybody since, back in September of 2019 when he beat a guy who came in with 11-0. So he's a guy that's got to get you an accumulation of punches. He's not going to go in there and just hurt you with one punch.
Yeah.
I think one of the things too that Devin Haney is going to find out real quick in this fight is Linares is a lot faster. Vasily Lomachenko made that comment after the fight that he was very impressed with not only the boxing skills of Linares, but how fast Linares was. He didn't think that Linares was going to be that quick. That's the thing that Devin is going to have to understand, is that, Linares is not your prototypical lightweight. Linares is one of those guys. Sometimes he looks great. Sometimes he looks like shit, but we're going to see it. He seems like he's really up for this, because I think he feels disrespected, like he's a stepping stone. He's like, listen, I'm still at a point in my career where I shouldn't be deemed a stepping stone.
Yeah. No, I'm just looking at their tail of the tape real quick. Hold on one second. So Linares has been fighting for 19 years.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So his ring IQ's got to be
It's
pretty darn good. So I mean, I'm always for the underdog anyway. But Haney's has his pluses. You know what I mean? But Linares, let's hope he shows up to make something happen.
Well, you see, the thing is, Haney's, if you really look at it, Haney's in a rough spot, more than Jorge Linares, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay, please.
If Linares loses this fight, then he loses to a guy that probably the boxing public, along with the people who are behind Devin Haney, felt that he's supposed to do. It's a learning experience for Haney. He's finally biting at some of the top guys, which Linares is a top guy.
Yeah.
On the other side, Devin Haney has everything to lose, because you see, up to this point, Devin Haney, especially in the last few years, has really exhibited, once again, this very brash, talk a lot, I'm going to do this, disrespectful. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Jorge Linares is not your prototypical lightweight. I'm going to say it again. He's a guy who possesses skills. He's a guy who can make you look bad. He had his moments with Vasily Lomachenko, who everybody knows is a very, very talented fighter. This is not the Vasily who gave away rounds against Teofimo because, whatever his dad's game plan was, it just wasn't right. This is a Teofimo who from round one came out to try to take Linares' head off. Linares came right back at him. And believe me, the world saw it when Lomachenko got floored by Linares.
Yeah.
The thing is that, you know, like I said, if Devin Haney loses this fight, he's going to be put in a rough spot.
It's going to drop him on all the rankings for.
Well, he falls out of that little undefeated, you know, the elite club. But then not only that, other people are going to look at him and go, well, you just lost to a guy that really should have beat because he's a little long in the tooth and maybe he's at the last stage of his career. And at that point, Devin Haney's wounds are going to open up more. And that's when the sharks come out.
Yeah.
And when you're bleeding in the water, they could smell it. And believe me, he's going to have everything going around him.
Very true. Very true.
So we'll see what
happens. Yeah, you know, hopefully it's a good fight. You know, hopefully it's a good fight. And, you know, I'm always for the underdog. So go Linares. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you're always right too. I was telling a couple of my buddies, I was like, man, I gotta next time I go to Vegas, I gotta take my brother Eric with me. I go, doesn't care what game he touches, he's lucky. So
I usually win.
Yeah. So
so whether it's horse racing or you know, I don't follow football anymore, but
just college. So there's
just college. No NFL stuff. That's all crap anyway. You know, a bunch of
there's another really good fight on Saturday too, and that is undefeated champion Nordino Bali takes on
weight division
the 120 that is sorry, it's going to be for the WBC bantamweight bantamweight title. The current champion Nodine Abali, 17-0, takes on by far his toughest test in the great Nonito Donaire, the Filipino Flash. Now I'm going to say something right now. I saw Obali in his last. I've seen those last couple fights. His fight against Inouye was not. I don't care what the scores said; they were ridiculous. It was not a very impressive situation for Obali. Obali's another guy who you really got to be careful with. You know, he's another guy that kind of you saw it in his fight against Rashid Warren. A lot of dirty tactics were used in that fight, also against the other Filipino guy, Arthur Villanueva.
Yeah, that's going to be a good fight.
Well, the thing is that Obali's going to run into. Everybody talks about his power, but I think like the monster Inoue, he's going to find out what real power is against a guy who's very, very, very comfortable at this division because this is his natural weight, and now it's a couple years down the line in Nonito Donaire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, like Linares, Donaire's starting to get at that point in his career where you think, you know, the gloves are going to get hung here pretty soon. But, you know, being the fact that Donaire looks so competitive against the monster Inoue, who pound for pound is probably the most dangerous fighter in the world right now.
But the Inoue, that one?
Yes, the monster, yeah. Obali has some big shoes to fill because here's the thing is, whatever Obali and his people think they're going to bring to this party and surprise Nonito Donaire, believe me, it was already revealed when Donaire walked into the ring with the monster Inoue. So if I'm Donaire's people, I'm saying, listen, you already fought the toughest guy in the world. Okay? This guy's unproven. Go out there and do what you do. Don't be sloppy. Although Donaire's has a high ring IQ. He's got good speed, those beautiful counter punches. He's got one punch power when he uses it.
Yeah.
The story's still out on Obali. I mean, like I said, he's very heavily hyped, but we're going to see what's going to happen. But I love the fact that it's happening. I think it's a great matchup, and it's going to be a fan favorite. It's one of those fights you don't want to miss.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that one because with Donaire, he's got like a 65% knockout ratio. So I mean, it could end in 1 round or 10 rounds or 12 rounds.
I might actually be at this fight. I'm trying to see if they can lift some more of this COVID stuff because what's so great about it, the only good thing about me still being in California, it's going to be in Carson over at Dignity Health. Right down there. So
right
I'm
down the street from you.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that.
Let me know if you get a ticket, man. I'll fly down real quick.
No, I know you would. I know you would. But that's going to be a great fight, and I'll tell you honestly, little side note on Dignity on the Carson. Well, I've seen so many amazing fights. Everything from Vasily Lomachenko defeating Gary Russell Jr., to the Ugas Porter. I mean, Deontay Wilder. I mean, you name it. I've seen them all. I saw, Abner Mares, Leo Santa Cruz. I mean, this is becoming, for a little place where there's not a bad seat in the house, it's becoming a mecca of boxing. It's putting on, the kind of matches that you want to see there. I mean, John Molina, Lucas Matisse was fought there. What does that tell you right there? That was one of the greatest fights of all time. By the gladiator,
So, yeah. So the next time you guys get tickets to a fight, I don't care where it is, just call me. Let me know so I can go. I'm dying to go to an actual boxing match.
Well, it's looking good right now, bro. Like I said, I mean, about once I get everything settled the way it's supposed to be, is like this. So, the Raiders' new stadium over in Las Vegas. We were at the first Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight over at the Staples Center. I mean, I had a beautiful. Thank God for my wife, man. She got me beautiful seats, man. I was right next to the people from Showtime. I mean, I was right up there in the box. As a matter of fact, Johnny and Mike and all them came up to where my box was up there, my private box up there in the top, because they were like, dude, we got to come up here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The only one didn't come up. So, yeah. So, on another note, we got next month, too. Don't forget, we got Jaime Munguia back in action against Solecki and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I'm looking forward to that. And too bad we can't get to that fight. I once again, I wanted to go to that fight, too.
There was something
that's
I wanted
in El
to say.
Paso.
Yeah, before we sign off, there was something I wanted to say that I didn't get a chance to talk about last time. And it's about Jaime Munguia. There's been a lot of talk out there about Jaime Munguia when he was at 154 pounds, how he was a weight bully. But nobody said anything about guys like Jared Hurd or even Jamel Charlo, amongst others. Jaime Munguia has done nothing but go through the opponents that they put in front of him. He's taking no easy roads. He's taking whatever they can give him, okay? His next opponent is Solecki. Everybody knows why Ballard bowed out. But but I think the bigger issue is this. Jamal Charlo is fighting a guy by the name of Montiel, okay? Who, a matter of fact, at the young age of 19 years old, was a second-round knockout victim to Jaime Munguia. This is when Montiel was considered, a monster in a sense.
Yeah. I'm
not saying Munguia was brought in to be a sacrificial lamb, but the thing is about what's going on right now in boxing and stuff with these guys is I always see people just discrediting Jaime for whatever reason. But you gotta remember, this is a guy who they say he doesn't want to fight anybody. This is a guy who accepted the Gennady Golovkin fight before he got the Saddam Ali fight. He was ready to step in against Triple G. Yeah. It was Triple G's side and whatever sanctioned bodies that deemed him, not whatever. So then they gave him Saddam Ali. He goes down there and he destroys him.
So let me ask this real quick, just real fast. Okay, so as Triple G, you get this young guy says, yes, I'll fight you. Why would you not do that? Not because you don't think it's good for you. You do that. You don't allow that to happen because basically that's going to be hard.
It's what Mike says. It's what Mike says all the time.
You know what I mean?
Too much risk, not enough reward.
Too much risk. Bro. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Jaime Munguia, we know that you're going to be the next Canelo. I think, quite honestly. Yeah. Honest to God, you're going to be the next Mexican champion.
Well, I'm hoping that he gets that chance against him. But getting back on Juan Macias Montiel, he's a big puncher. He's 22 and 4 with 22 knockouts. Right. Fighting against Jamal Charlo. Obviously, he lost to Jaime Munguia. Munguia didn't just knock him out. Munguia hurt him. The guy was on the canvas for like 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Montiel came back, beat guys like I thought he won the fight against Hugo Centeno Jr., even though it got caught a draw. He ended former contender James Kirkland's career with a devastating first-round knockout, and then he gets this opportunity right here.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what's going to happen, but I don't want to hear people say that Jaime's out there, you know, cherry picking. When you're taking the leftovers that Jaime left back in 2000.
Well, how many fights has Jaime had signed and done, and then they all cancel on him? People are dropping out. People are dropping out. People are dropping out. They don't want to get in there and get their ass kicked. Basically, is what it is. Boils down to.
Well, that's the difference between a fighter, Eric, like a Jaime Munguia, and say a Chon Zepeda.
Yeah.
Then say like a Terrence Bud Crawford or some of the other guys. You see, when the fight falls through, these guys still want to fight. They're like, get me somebody, but make them creditable. These other guys will just go, I'll fight next month, whatever. We'll get like this, but that is what it is. But on another side note, real quick, you know, I know that we're kind of getting a little young future star, Maximus Castro, who fights out of the Robert Alcazar's famed gym.
Okay.
Had his pro debut this past week.
I
on
didn't
Saturday.
see it. Where was that?
It was in Phoenix, Arizona.
Was it televised or no?
No, it wasn't televised.
Oh.
He was one of the fights, but Maximus is
That was that kid. Yeah, I met that kid.
Yeah,
Good kid.
he had
Strong.
he had his pro debut. He won a I believe it was a 6-round decision. I think it was a 6-round fight. I'm not sure, but he fought a guy in Nestor Robelio that had 20 fights under his belt. 20 fights. Guy came in, you know, with a 7-11 record, which everybody knows that means absolutely nothing. But you look at who this guy's been in there with, you know.
Yeah.
Castro dropped him twice and won the decision.
Yeah.
Big things ahead for Maximus Castro. I'm gonna tell you something right now. This is a kid who is going to stamp his impression in the minds of not only the boxing analysts, the enthusiasts, the fans, but the world. Because I mean, this is a kid, like I said, he's gonna go through these divisions fast. You've already seen it. There's not a lot of guys that will take on when his original opponent dropped through and they passed on this guy at a higher weight, 20 fights under his belt, without a blink of an eye, he said, give them to me. And that's
awesome.
A person who's looking to be great.
Yeah,
so congratulations to Maximus Castro, man, on that victory, man. Good win, man. We look for many, many more. And,
way to go, Robert. You train him right.
Yeah.
You know what?
Absolutely.
With that being said, Chon, go like part-time it with Robert for a little while. You'll be fine. You and your brother both. You know, get over there and you know, just.
I'm sure, Chon, like I said, Chon's going to do what he has to do. You know, Chon is an extreme talent. Anybody, believe me, there's still a lot of people within that division having nightmares right now when they go back and look at the highlights of what Chon was able to accomplish against Baranchak and the devastating manner in which he ended that fight.
Yeah. Well,
there's not too many people in boxing who end fights like that. They can go an entire career and never get a real highlight like that. Chon's got several like that, you know.
Well, let's hope that Chon took this last fight as kind of like a tune-up and to get his body back in shape, you know, and you know, let's see more fireworks next time. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? Let's see who he can get to sign on the dotted line and make the biggest mistake of their life and get in there with a Chon Zepeda that's ready to knock their ass out. So, way to go, Chon. We're glad you won, but. Yeah, so it was a little bit, you know, slower than what you normally do.
It was a little bit of a lackluster. It was a little bit lackluster performance by Chon Zepeda. But like I said, I mean, I fully see Chon coming back and doing what he has to do. But I guess we're just at the, you know,
like you said earlier, though. I mean, he fights to the level that
of his competition.
And
so many great fighters have done that. So many great fighters have done that.
So many great fighters. Yeah, you know, I mean, so I could see him absolutely just, you know, being one of those top guys.
A fighter who comes out of my memory that I remember that always kind of fought down the level of his competition and stuff, you know, could be up for the big fights, you know. No, Terry Norris. Terry Norris is the type of guy. He goes in there, he can knock out a John Mugabe in one round and then lose, you know, to this French guy, you know. It never made any sense to me, but that was Terry Norris. But with that said, I'm tired. You're tired. This was Enter the Ring Live.
Hey, if in fact our father is ever watching, so an early happy Father's Day to you, Dad.
Happy Father's Day. Hey, so real quick, so for myself, AJ Rage, Mighty Mike, my brother Eric the Red from Oregon and stuff like this, you know, hit that bell, hit subscribe, keep us going, because at the end of the day, we are your trusted source for boxing news and updates. I'm AJ Rage. This is Enter the Ring Live. We'll see you on Tuesday at 6 o'clock.